Welcome back to Madame Tortuga's Lounge with your host, the neurodivergent, mentally ill, non-binary, polypan, pagan Pisces, Dottie the Psychic, a Metro Valley Pagan Pride affiliate. Hello, my Dotlings, and welcome to another Shameless Self Promotion. We've got a very special guest tonight. You know, I usually don't actually introduce my guests because I usually let them introduce themselves. But tonight's kind of a special case because I've been trying to get this woman on this podcast since before it was a podcast. So it's been like, what, 5-6 years I've been trying to get you on? Something like that.
I know. We I mean.
So Donna Donovan is the head of Appalachian Pagan Ministries. And it's a pan-pagan outreach program. I know that you do outreach for prisons. I know you work with the homeless population in Parkersburg and addiction recovery for people of all paths.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start there. What is Appalachian Pagan Ministry?
We are a pan-pagan ministry that is devoted to facilitating the practice of all non-Abrahamic paths for people who are incarcerated, formerly incarcerated, and or in substance abuse recovery. We work online. We have online classes with various prisons around the nation, including Oregon. We send in curriculum and literature for those. We also are work very hard in the reentry community. I am a member and in on all the reentry councils in West Virginia, Athens County, Ohio Reentry Task Force, as well as the Ohio Association of Local Reentry Coordinators, and nationally in the National Reentry meetings and whatnot. We also are very heavy into the recovery community as well. Most of my folks here are in recovery or working in recovery facilities as well. So we also promote and facilitate what's called the Hellweger, which is a heathen recovery program, a 9-step program based on like heathen virtues and values and union philosophy. And that's who was going to be in our parade this time. Was my local chapter of the Hellweger. But and I do workshops at various festivals and online on like 12 steps without the God part, explaining the various different step programs of other non-Abrahamic beliefs like rational satanic recovery and the pagan 12 steps by Isaac Bonowitz. And we've got the Buddhism steps and Hindu and all different types on our website. You can find that under resources, all the different step programs.
What is that website?
www.appalachianministry.com. Had I thought this through when I first started this almost a decade ago, it would have been a much shorter name.
I don't know what you're doing, but your camera's bouncing.
Because I'm laughing and it's moving. Yeah.
All right.
So thought through the name, but whatever.
Right. So that is basically Appalachian Pagan Ministry.com.
Yep. If you go on resources, you can see all the different steps that we put up there. So that is what we do. And we do a local outreach here in our community, my local Hellweger chapter here. We do a lot of street outreach. We do a lot, like next week we're doing a drive, a coat, blanket, and hygiene drive. We have a huge unhoused community here in Parkersburg, huge. And we only have 2 shelters, and both are consistently full.
Here in Charleston, I think we've got like 3 or 4, but these shelters are not great places to be.
They're not. A lot of them aren't. They try their best, a lot of them. But yet, people don't understand. If you are a mother, and say you're a single mom and you got 2 kids, and say your boy's 10 years old and your daughter's 8, and you go to a shelter, they're going to make that 10-year-old boy go stay on the men's side. No, not my kid wouldn't be. They separate them. Or if you're a husband and wife and you go into a shelter together, you can't stay together. You know, that's why a lot of people choose not to go. But this time of year, they're all full. They're just full. So
Yeah, because it gets cold.
it's very cold, very, very cold. So that's what we do. And so you want to hear the story? Is that what you want to hear? What happened?
Yeah, we do. Okay, so folks, let me start off. To finally get her on this, it took apparently an act of God, not ours.
Don't
Another
look at my
guy.
Facebook. I got pictures of me and Dottie together all the time. You just thought it not here.
So tell us. So a lot of people are probably watching this out of interest over what occurred with the parade. I want to talk more about Appalachian Pagan Ministry and kind of break down some of the things that you said that you all do, so that people can understand them. But first, let's get into the drama. Let's do the drama.
Let's get the tea. Let's get the tea. All right. Get ready. Here we go.
Tell us some tea, Donna. Tell us what happened.
Now what? So, like I said, our local Hellbeggar chapter, we call ourselves that. They call the Hellbeggar Heathens of Parkersburg. It's not an official group. It's just what we call ourselves. But they are a chapter of men and women who are practicing, who are working the Hellbeggar, which I said is a heathen recovery program that I facilitate in the prisons and elsewhere. And so a lot of recovery is also building community, you know, and a lot of being a heathen is building faith and community. So we try and do things. We start our outreaches together, and that's why we do those. And we try to do fun things together. Also, not to mention, you know, ritual bloats and whatnot we do together. But so we were going to do the homecoming parade here, which was in August. But because some of our folks are in recovery centers, they were not able to get away or whatever to do that. So we didn't do it. So we thought, how about the Christmas parade, right? And it's something we can do. It'd be fun. We bring the families, all the kids and all together. It only costs 15 non-perishable goods to donate. So we're like, well, yeah, we can do that. So I filled the application out. It was very specific. Anybody can go online and look. I put it up there. Told who we were, who the Hellbeggar was, exactly, right? And so I mailed the application in. The deadline was by the 26th of November. I mailed it in on the 23rd. On the 26th, I called one of the volunteer organizers, whose name is Lori. Everybody's talking about Lori all over online, and trust me, this is Lori's fault. Please don't go calling her anymore. But Lori, I talked to her on the 26th, said, hey, did you get our app? And she was like, I haven't got it yet in the mail. How about you send me a photo of it so I have it here? I'm like, okay. So we did that. And she said, looked it over, looks fine, everything is good. Just make sure you're there by 11 behind the school to line up. And I'm like, all right, we'll see. And she said, and I said, just to describe our float, so you know, we're going to have like gnomes. I know it said no Santas. So we're not going to be Santa. We're going to have gnomes on it, and a Christmas tree, and me, and one of the kids
All the pagan parts of Christmas.
Follow the theme of whatever, you know, the holiday theme. And so two of my girls are going to be dressed as elves, holding our banner. And all the other guys are going to be wearing antlers and stuff and passing out candy to the kids, right?
Right.
So that was all good. Everything's fine. We're getting all ready for it. We're getting things ordered. Things are coming in the mail. We're getting all these candy boxes together and stuff. And then Wednesday afternoon, this past Wednesday, I get a call from John, the other volunteer coordinator, and Lori on speakerphone. And Lori's like, Donna, I am really, really sorry, but the mayor has decided he does not want your organization in the parade. Excuse me, what? Why? And she said, well, because you are a pagan organization and on your website, it states that you work with Satanists. And I started to laugh and I said, well, yeah, we do. As you know, and it's an application, we are a pagan ministry who works with all non-Abrahamic paths. And I'm not going to get into the debate about Satanists being Abrahamic or not. I don't care what you say that. So, but
that's the point, right?
Right. So then John pipes in and said, well, Donna, you know, the name ministry in your title alludes to being Christian. I said, no, it does not. Ministry alludes to that we minister, which is exactly what we do. And actually, I am a licensed minister in the state of West Virginia. So, hey, I can put ministry. And Lord, and I'm like, you know, after all this time and expense, and he starts to say, well, exactly, exactly what expense was there? So we can, I said, whoa, stop. I'm not taking your hush money, John. Okay, don't even go there. I said, Lori, John, I'm not going to be rude. Please don't take it that way, but I need to be very direct and very, very clear with you. I need you to go back to the mayor right now and tell him that what he is doing is illegal, is violating our constitutional rights, and he cannot do this. This is religious discrimination and is not allowed by the law. He needs to understand this. I said, Lori, I'm telling you, you need to go tell him to rescind this decision now, or I am absolutely going to file a complaint with the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. I'm going to contact the ACLU and any other organization I can get a hold of, including the Satanic Temple, and I'm going to send a press release out to every media source I can get my hands on. My reach is far. And I said, you need to understand something. I've been doing this for 10 years, for over a decade, with institutions across this nation, facilitating the rights of those of non-Abrahamic past to practice their religions. I know the law, and I'm very loud. Tell him what he's doing is illegal, Lori, and he needs to rescind that decision. She said, I will. I'll call you back. And 20 minutes later, she called me back, and she's very, very apologetic. And she's like, Donna, I am so sorry. He said, absolutely not. I said, Lori, she said, I know. I told him everything. And he said, absolutely not. I said, well, I'm very sorry, too. There's about to be a storm hit Parkersburg. You have a nice afternoon. And I hung up. And that was it. And I said, I need that in writing, please. And she emailed me, and she was smart enough. I'll give her credit. She's, per our conversation, didn't state the whole religious part, but regardless, I really don't think either one of those two are going to lie in a court of law or perjure themselves to cover the mayor.
Right.
He was already trying to throw them under the bus for it, saying it wasn't a city-sponsored event. Now, mind you, it is advertised by the city of Parkersburg on their website, all over the place. It is the application form for the parade. You have to go through the city of Parkersburg website to do. And in the application, there is a liability disclaimer that keeps the city of Parkersburg from being liable if you incur any damages during the parade. So if it's not a city-sponsored event, why all that? And then why does the mayor have the final decision?
I mean, that sounds pretty city-sponsored to me.
And then he absolutely, in the article that came out yesterday in the Parkersburg News and Sentinel, he absolutely said that it was his decision.
Like, yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to guess we're going to hold on to that. But we should, when we get done with this, I want you to send me all the links to all the articles. I know you've been keeping track.
Oh, you better believe it. I will. I'll absolutely do that. We have so 6 years ago, the city of Parkersburg was sued by the Freedom from Religion Foundation because they were insisting on doing the Lord's Prayer before every city council meeting. And someone filed a complaint and they refused to stop, and they got sued by the FFRA, and the FFRA won. It ended up being a $70,000 lawsuit that they won. You would think, being it's the same mayor, he would have known better this time, but I guess not. He actually has a city council meeting tomorrow night discussing a raise for the mayor, which I think that the city council might want to rethink. But that's my opinion. So
that might be a good outing for the Helviki. Helviki.
No, we are actually here. There's the thing. So we purposely decided so we didn't get it. No, this all happened, and it's blowing up all over online. Everybody's outcrying. We just go protest. Like, no, we're not. We are not going to go protest this parade because, first of all, the parade is for families and children. We're not going to go down there.
Though, didn't it? Like you said, that was Saturday. Okay. Yeah.
So before the time, we're not going to go protest because we're not going to go disrupt this parade. It's for families and children. That's the whole point we wanted to be in it for. And a lot of my folks are in, like I said, different recovery programs around here. And I encourage them, if your recovery facility is doing a float, go. And a lot of them did go and participate with their recovery center, which is fine. People had, they took their kids. Please take your kids down there. We're not doing that. I'm going to handle this legally and through the media. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to go out there and make a scene, which is that's exactly what they want us to do. Go cause a scene, make a ruckus so they can say, see, they're just trying to be disruptive, because that's not at all why we wanted to be in this parade.
Right.
So,
Right. No,
and
you don't do things to start drama. You just end it.
we were still doing, I will say, that this going around the internet definitely boosted up our outreach stuff, and we're already getting orders off our Amazon wish list for our outreach program. So I'm pretty happy on that one. I got hats and neck warmers and blankets coming this week. I'm so happy. So
Nice. I'm glad some good has come from this. I'm really glad.
somebody did ask me, what do you want out of this? As far as, or do you need help with a legal fund? No, I don't need help with a legal fund. We don't need money for a legal fund, any of that, because anybody's going to sue them is going to be doing it on their own organization. We're just along for the ride. And any private lawyer that's going to sue on our behalf is going to be doing it by contingent anyway. So I'm not worried about that. No, we don't. If you want to support APM, absolutely, by the other work that we do, absolutely take donations all day long. But the best thing I tell people to do is call your ACLU, share this information far and wide so it gets everywhere, and then get out in your community and do some service work.
That actually, how have you been received by the bigger civil rights groups, like the Satanic Temple, the ACLU? You said the Freedom from Religion.
ACLU hasn't got back to us yet. Freedom, the FFRF has already started proceedings with them, and I just, as you know, was on the phone with legal counsel from the American Atheists. So they're actually going to send a release of information to them as well to see what they say. I'm still waiting. I got word from TST that they would be contacting me. And I didn't bring up the Satanist part. We are not a satanic organization, but we do work. I have a volunteer who's a theistic Satanist who does teach a course, and we do share their recovery program. Absolutely. But we are not a satanic. And the group that was going to be on the parade isn't even, they're all heathens. Norse pagans and heathens.
You know what?
Which is funny because they really wanted to do Krampus, and I said, absolutely not. Can you imagine? I said, can you imagine the optics, the first pagan float, and we're doing Krampus? I said, no, we're not doing that. And then I thought,
they go to thinking Satan.
Yeah, and I thought, well, maybe we can do the Yule goat, the Yule block. And my daughter said, oh, no, Mom, no. Think of it, pagans, goats, same optics. I'm like, yeah. So we settled on the gnomes. Who can be mad at gnomes?
House spirits. It's a, and Yule.
And I'm sitting there going, gnomes are everywhere. All these people love these gnomes. They're all over the yards, and they're actually tomtes, we call them. Like, you understand it's a pagan symbol, whatever. But people like them. So I thought gnomes are happy. We'll put gnomes up there.
Gnomes and trees and deer and.
Thank you. And elves.
The generic Yule tide symbols. I don't know, Donna. I don't know. But okay, so we have.
Hold on, you got to see this. Hang on, I'm gonna take it because, and this can go on camera. The evil Satanist that I am. This was my outfit. Do you see this?
Marion Bright.
That was my outfit.
That was adorable.
Evil, I say, evil.
Well, they call anybody evil who doesn't want to just do what they say, right?
I'm just disappointed. I'm sad for our families, that really wanted to get into it, but we're still gonna do the thing. Next Sunday is our coat and blanket drive, and the gnomes will be out there, and our banner will be out there, and we're gonna dress up in our costumes, and I'm passing out boxes of candy that would have gone out at the parade and hot chocolate while people are bringing their coats and blankets for us. So we're still gonna do it.
What day is that? I'm gonna try and get this edited like tomorrow, which would be
next Sunday the 15th.
So Sunday the 15th.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try really hard to get this out by then. So let's backtrack. So we kind of so this mayor is an asshole, and I know this is something that unfortunately the pagan community. So there's two directions I want to go. I want to cover two major subjects. Number one, I'd like to break down what each of these groups kind of are, what the differences are inside of the pagan community, but also oppression's not new to the pagan community. We've had a fair share of run-ins. Just, I think everybody's got one good story, and I'm sure you got more than most, having worked in the prison system.
It's going to be a whole lot more, coming up.
Let's get back to where we're talking about Appalachian Pagan Ministry. You said a whole lot of different councils that I know that I'm not familiar with.
I work with the West Virginia Reentry Councils, and they have one in almost every county in the state where there are divisions. Okay, and what they do is they work with the folks that are coming out of prisons and help to get them established and with resources and whatnot. And they talk about what they can do. It's a group. The reentry councils are usually employees or people from the prison and jail systems, and then like housing authorities and recovery centers and literacy and all kinds of programs people need coming out of prison. So all of us get together and have these council meetings to share information and to promote each other's stuff and to learn how and network like crazy. So if I got somebody coming out, I can go back to my meeting with, say, if I got somebody coming out going to say here to Wood County, I can go on my MOV Rancher Council and look and see what resources we have here and the people that work in the council that I can reach out to for my person coming home. And they do them in all over the state of West Virginia. And then in Ohio is really big. Ohio Association of Local Reentry Councils is OLARC is the big one over the whole state that works with DCR, the prisons, at a statewide level. And then each county again has their own different councils that all come together. So that's a lot of my time is in these council meetings and working with people for folks that I have coming home and getting them resources. So
I know that you've sent literature all over the country to all, like, pretty much every prison system in the country.
We do. Yep.
How much of a fight was that?
No, well, it's funny. It still is. It's still a fight. Now that the mail system's gotten so different, it's still a fight. As far as getting mail in, not so hard, but our big thing now is we're doing these online classes, and we're doing them in Ohio and Oregon and Illinois and starting Texas and picking up some feds prisons as well, as if we were coming inside meeting. We're doing it virtually like this. As a matter of fact, we're having a Mother's Night bloat on the 17th in December with all of the Ohio prisons online at the same time doing it together.
That's really cool.
I know. I'm pretty excited.
That is really cool. Okay, So that tells us a lot about what services y'all provide. Can we talk a little bit about, like, what you said, Mother's Day bloat? Mother's Night, sorry.
Okay.
I'm a bad pagan. I don't remember. Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Okay. Those are heathen events. I work with the heathens, the Satru and whatnot. I have a Wiccan volunteer, Minerva. I think you met Minerva. Minerva's my Wiccan. We all love Minerva. She's my Wiccan volunteer. I have a volunteer who's a theistic Satanist as a course. I've got another one who does Native Nation spirituality. I have another one who does Celtic paganism. And so they all work around the country doing coursework by mail, either mail or email in. And so, but as far as, so we work with everybody. And if I don't work with somebody, I tell them I will find out what I can for you.
Right.
Or send them to where I can if I don't know somebody, if I don't have information, but we try. Prisons are very strict. They kind of limit people. I'm gonna address that elephant that might be in the room, because Reddit's got this story already, and Reddit is Reddit. And Reddit over there, I'm everything from a neo-Nazi, whatever, all kinds of stuff right now. And I don't even go in there and deal with Reddit.
Fair enough.
So because on our website it states we work with it says Odinist, and we do. It says heathen in parentheses, Asatru, Odinist, etc. I don't care what Northern tradition name you use. I don't care if you call yourself an Onist, or I don't care, because the saga and the lore and the source material is all the same. And that's what I'm teaching. I'm not telling anybody how to believe or what to believe. I'm teaching the source material, and you learn from there. Make your own perception what you want to believe.
Right.
But people don't understand, we do work with the prison systems primarily. And in half the prisons in the United States, there's only four delineations now. You've got Odinist, Wiccan, Native Nation, Native American, or Satanist. So even if you're not an Odinist per se, by what people use that term for now, you don't have a choice but to be anything but called that while you're in there if you're practicing Northern tradition. So that's one reason. And the other is, I can't teach anybody anything if I exclude them from learning, and I don't. I let anybody into our classes. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Christian or not. Come in to learn, fine.
Right.
I'm all about that. And I teach with the sources. The other issue was on Reddit that our Hellveger program is based on the 9 Noble Virtues, and there's been a big uproar in the heathen community the last few years about the 9 Noble Virtues, and we're not doing them because they're written by Stephen McNallen or the Odinic Rite or AFA, whatever. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. And people took that wrong. It's not that I don't care about fascism or whatever. It's that I don't care who wrote them, because they are good in and of themselves.
Right.
What the other organizations tried to do when taking away from that, they were to make their own. And the Asatru community made the 9 charges or whatever, right? And I read them and I was like, oh, that looks familiar. I said, hey, where'd you get this from? Oh, they got it from the Assyrian Code of 9. And I'm like, you're worried about McNallen and the 9 Noble Virtues, and you're going to adopt the Assyrian Code of 9, which is even more so? Are you kidding me? So, like, I don't believe in throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I don't.
Right.
Years ago, the first set of 9-step program for heathenry that I found was written by Laurel Odins of the Odinic Rite. Now, mind you, I am not an Odinic Rite fan. Believe me, I'm not. We have extremely different ideologies. However, those were good. And for people in recovery that were not Christian and they were heathen, those were good. This program, the Hellveger, if they take time to actually go and look at what they actually do with the virtues, they would see that it has nothing to do with the whole uproar they have about them. The Hellveger's
like the uproar that they have about them. I know, because I do run into this out in the community. I'm like, because like our local Asatru, the Raven's Nest Kindred, they do our security.
Right.
At all our pagan events. Like, they are one of the most diverse groups of pagans in the area. But I've also talked to people in the local community who are like, oh, I see a Thor's hammer and I think that they're white supremacists. And it's really, it's sad. It is sad. And there's definitely, because there are obviously skinheads out there. But
there's extremists in every path.
Right.
Every path. And like I tell people, I don't, and I say this, and I'll say this publicly. I say it at every prison I go to, and I walk in, and I mean this when I say it. I do not care. I personally do not care if you are the biggest racist, homophobe walking the face of the earth. Those are your opinions. Those are your beliefs. You own them. Don't tell me it's because of this, because it's not. That's your personal beliefs. That's not because of the religion. And I'm here to tell you why. And then I teach the source material.
Right. No, Loki was like a gender bending, he was a shapeshifter.
Yeah, you gotta understand. I'm in the anti-Loki camp, so.
Oh, okay.
I'm not anti-Loki. I am, Loki has his part absolutely in our cosmology. He absolutely has his role to play. But me and Loki have this agreement, just like me and Hecate do. You do your thing over there, way over there, away from me. Loki's over there. I keep Hecate over there. Mad respect for her. She stays over there.
Fair enough. Enough.
I'm good. I am good. All the respect over there.
That's funny because I work with Hecate, and she's definitely.
That would not surprise me. My daughter works with Lilith. Really?
Right. I mean, I get it. I get like and this is one of those things, like, it's kind of hard to tell people, like, when you don't really pick your pantheon. Your pantheon picks you.
Thank you. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's because, you know, some part of you may be reaching out to a concept that they represent. But many, many times it's you have a deep spiritual experience, and, you know, we worship the gods who show up when we need them, you know. That's
it's like when I tell the guys that, and they get a little, and it happens to get a little shocked. I think, but I'm going to tell you something. When it comes, you know, our ancestors, and I mean almost all of our ancestors, I don't care where you're from, were too busy trying to stay alive than to worry about what everybody else was doing in their house. They did not care if Tom and Bob were sharing a bed together in their home. They didn't care. They were trying to stay alive in their own home. They didn't care what someone over there was doing. They didn't.
right.
You know, unless it came to affect them. Like I tell the guys, well, I can't deal with that because, you know, it's a homosexual. Is he trying to bend you over and take you? Well, no. Well, then why are you worried about it? How does it bother you? How does it bother you? If he tries to do that, yeah, be upset. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
Sorry. Our ancestors were like that. If you're not bothering me, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care. I'm trying to grow my food, take care of my animals, feed my family. I don't care what you were doing in your home over there. I don't. They don't. They were busy taking care of themselves, and that's kind of how I look at it. And I know I stay middle of the road in a lot of political topics, and I have to. I do that. I don't pick sides publicly because it's not my place to do that. I'm here to provide services for those who can't get them, and that's what I do. But I can tell you this: when you're out on the streets with a bunch of heathens out here rocking these hammers, they're not asking anybody what their belief is, checking their skin color, not asking who they sleep with. They're giving them food. They're giving them Narcan. They're giving them test strips. They're giving them hygiene. They're going down these camps and making sure people have what they need. They don't care, and that's why I love these folks. And that's what we should be doing. But that's what we should be doing. They don't care, you know. I mean, I don't recall asking anybody when they came up to get food from us or a bag of hygiene, hey, are you gay? I don't care. I put condoms in all the bags anyways, so I don't care if you are or not. But that's just for Harvard. That was something I found sadly comical. When we started doing this outreach, I went to the health department and said, hey, look, we're doing this outreach, putting all these bags together. Can I get some condoms from you guys? And they're like, absolutely, right? And they said, do you realize you're the only organization to have ever come in here and asked for them? What? Because, you know, most Christian ones are like, you're not having sex. Well, no, you are having sex, and you're spreading Hep C and you're spreading AIDS all over this place. So how about we wrap it up?
Right.
Harm reduction. You know.
Right.
So, yeah, but that's what our folks don't care when they come. People come bring us donations of clothes and blankets and hygiene. We don't ask them their sexual preference or look at their color or their religion. We don't care. We're taking what they're donating, and we're giving it to people who don't care that we're heathen. They don't care that we're not Christian, giving them stuff. They don't ask us when we come down there, are you Christian? No, they don't ask. They say thank you. That's it.
Fair enough.
That's it.
Fair enough.
And that's why we wanted to do a stupid parade. I shouldn't say stupid. It wasn't stupid, but because we wanted the families of our groups that do these things to have something, because they're proud of what they do, and to bring more awareness that we're here.
Right.
And not even that. I mean, just so people could know. And my guys are proud of what they do, and they wanted to get out to their families and do that. And you know, it was really sad that it happened the way it did. And yeah.
That is really sad.
I have one of the girls, because a lot of my folks I work with don't have parents, or they're not in contact with their parents anymore because of incarceration or addiction or whatever, you know. So I've got a lot of little kids right around that look at me as grandma. And one of them called me the other day and said, Nana, so-and-so asked me if I'd go ahead and ride the float the recovery point float. But I said I had to ask you first, is it okay if I do that? Baby girl, yes, go ride that float. You go have fun. You ride that float. It is okay.
That is magnanimous. That is truly magnanimous, because that's not something, because I remember
But just for the record, no, I'm not a fascist, people.
right. People
Oh,
get
yeah.
more hung up on like.
Don't go on Reddit. Reddit's an ugly, ugly place. Reddit's a very ugly place.
I'm surprised you're on Reddit. Like, how do you know stuff going on Reddit?
Somebody messaged me and said, "Hey, I just posted this on Reddit. You got to go check out the comments." Some my dumb butt did, and I was like, "I'm not looking at these anymore." So a lot of them are a bunch of armchair heathens that don't have boots on the ground and deal with the community, anyways.
Oh yeah, the boy who cried Volk.
I'm like, I'm done. Call us what you want. I don't care. I don't see you out here working with anybody. So,
right, yeah. If you're not going to hit the,
I did say, I told the person, I said, look, they said, are you going to say anything? And they're like, no, because here's the thing, I'm not going to spend my time about this issue trying to defend myself and the stuff that we do. I ain't got time for that. I'm worried about this issue.
Right.
My work speaks for itself.
It really does.
Our work speaks for itself.
It really does. Which brings me to one big thing, like how can people get involved and like support your project, but also potentially start their own outreach? Because we've got several pagan communities that are looking to expand and connect.
I will tell you, so support us, you can go, if you go on my website, well, not the website, would you go on the website too? If you go on our Facebook page, I mean, I've got a video up that has a link to our wish list for our outreach program. Absolutely do that. We obviously take donations. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. It is December, folks. Get your tax deductible donations in now. But as far as in your own community, here's the thing. And the reason part of what I'm seeing with this whole parade issue is there's a lot of people in the community that are not pagan that are really speaking up for us because they know what we do and they've worked with us. And I'm really happy about that, because that's how you get involved in your community. You get involved. I mean, do a donation drive, a blanket drive, and then find out where your local homeless encampments are. They're all over the place. And you find somebody, I mean, you just don't go waltzing in there like willy-nilly. I actually work with people who are down in there that live there, so we can go in and take stuff in without being in trouble. But I mean, you could set up a spot close to down wherever you could find to put downtown. Like we did ours outside of one of our members' homes that was close kind of in what you would call the hood in our town, and put signs up everywhere, on Sunday from 2 to 4, free hot food, hygiene, and harm reduction stuff. Come get it, and people will spread the word and be consistent about it. You can stand there. You don't have to go down in the camps and do anything if you don't want to, but you can do that out. Find a place, a kind of centrally located place, and you see a lot of people walking around and start passing out flyers. Hey, Sunday we're gonna be over here for 2 hours, giving out free food and hygiene and stuff, and do that. Put bags together. I put a bag together. I put in like Narcan, fentanyl, Fetty test strips, Iodine test strips, condoms, and then I put in like little toothpaste and toothbrushes and soaps and face washes and some first aid stuff. Then we have bags of like feminine products if somebody wants it. I'll put some feminine products and some of the, I'll mark bags for like male and female. And the female ones that have like feminine products, and the male ones that have like different shaving cream, whatever. And whatever we have, and pass those bags out as they come by and give them food. They always ask, what church are you with? We're not. But if you're interested, they'll see, some of them will see our hammer. Hey, I practiced when I was inside the prison, and they'll recognize me. And I'll give them information in our recovery meetings, that we have. Other than that, we're not there preaching to anybody. Just be safe. Pass the word. Please use protection. Please test your crap before you do it. Please do not use alone. I got gear up. I've got first aid stuff and I am naloxone, so if we do go down, I can do wound treatments and I can treat on, use the I am naloxone on the spot. There's a lot of new stuff in our drug supply that doesn't react to Narcan anymore. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we got xylazine in there now, which is an amyl-grade tranquilizer. And it is also a vasoconstrictor, which means when they use this stuff, that's why you see all the sores now. It's a vasoconstrictor. It dilates, and that's why all the sores turn into ulcers and whatnot. They have a scab or a scratch. It's not, and it doesn't react to Narcan because it's not an opiate. And the new thing now is medetomidine, which is another amyl-grade tranquilizer, stronger than xylazine, also a vasoconstrictor. But its fun point is that it causes instant violent psychosis.
Holy cow.
It's a fun one. Yeah.
Why are people putting that in them?
Here's the thing, and people, when Fetty first hit the streets, like when my son died, right? I can't believe they're doing it. They're killing off their supply. No, they're killing off their business. No, they're not. They're making business because the maladaptive brain of an addict, especially an opiate user, when they hear someone die from it, doesn't think, oh my gosh, that's dangerous, I shouldn't do it. The maladaptive brain thinks, ooh, that shit's good. That's why it's called maladaptive, So it's crazy. But so what you can do is, honestly, just sit on a corner, pick a date and time for your group to get out there and pass out stuff, or even if it's just sandwiches and cookies, I don't care, and water. And pick a date and time that you're all going to be there, and make some flyers and go around your community, around that area. You see people walking, you can tell when they're unhoused or walking, whatever.
Yeah.
And pass these flyers out, man. Pass this to your friends. Tell your friends we're going to have some food and hygiene over here next week. Come pick it up, please. We're going to have some Narcan. Don't be doing your shit alone. The point is, we're not encouraging. People are going to use. They're going to use. Fact is that I'd much rather live to see another day to stop using than to not.
Well, it takes, because I know that, and it's funny, we don't think about addiction in the same way that we think of abusive relationships, but there's a lot of psychological crossover.
Addiction is addiction is addiction. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's drugs, if it's sex, if it's gambling, if it's addicted to shitty people. I mean, I don't know. It honestly, in the root cause of all addiction, and I don't care what it is, root cause is trauma. And I don't care who you are or what your trauma was. Not everybody's trauma is going to say, I tell my guys, we talk about this all the time, because step 6 in the Hellbagger is called defeating your own Grendel's mother. And the Hellbagger is based a lot on the story of Beowulf. And so we've got, Grendel's got to defeat, or Beowulf's got to defeat Grendel's mother, or she can just keep making more Grendels. That's kind of the concept of addiction. You can beat Grendel, beat your addiction, but if you don't deal with that root cause trauma, it's going to keep popping up one way or another. So, and I tell them all the time, I don't care what your trauma. I mean, not everybody in the world, and it sounds crude, but I'm pretty blunt. Not everybody in the world got diddled by their daddy. I'm sorry. Not everybody's trauma is going to be like that. Okay, it can be something that most people would not think would be traumatic, but it was traumatic to you. And that's all that counts.
A 10 is a 10. That's what you say in the medical, like a 10 is a 10.
Exactly. No matter what. Exactly. So you get to the root cause of that trauma and deal with that. And that's not an easy process to do. And that's why in recovery, community is so important. And yes, these folks, the guys I work with, a lot of them, and the ladies, have a recovery community in whatever facility or program they were in. But to have another one that's also based on your faith that's supporting your recovery is so much more important too. And that's why these group of folks down here are just amazing. And part of doing that is giving back. That's service work has always been part of recovery, giving back and meeting people where they're at, And so that's why.
That's kind of epic. Donna, everything you do is epic. Everything, I can't imagine. Don't let the grass grow under your ass, do you?
Look, I tried. I am not going to lie to you, Donnie. I'll be honest, and I'm not going to get into politics on here. I'm not going to do it. I won't do it publicly with anybody. However, I will say, with the way things are going, And many of us in the quote spiritual leaders in the community kind of got together and talked. And I'm like, I'm not going to go out there screaming and fighting. I'm just backing up, taking care of my little home circle here. We're going to keep doing our stuff here. Teach my folks how to grow whatever herbs they need to grow, what they need to be having, because that's going to become a thing. And that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to be out there screaming. I've already, no offense, got a target on my back as it is. I know I do.
Right. Just from
And
working
so
with the community.
I was going to sit back and be quiet. And Odin, when I started this work 10 years ago in the prisons, he and I had this little understanding that I would serve the folk and he would not let me get shot. So far, we've both done our end of the bargain. And when I decided I wanted to sit back and be quiet, this happens. And I'm like, oh, and he reminded, we've had some real hard conversations the last 3 days. And he has reminded me, you promised to serve the folk. I'm calling you to serve. I said, well, you also told me you wouldn't let me get shot. He said, have you been shot yet? No. So
you gotta watch them vague deals with the gods, man. You gotta read that fine print.
And so I'm not gonna be, that's not what I was put here to do, so fine, I won't. But yeah, look, it would have been really easy for me just to come back and tell the guys, oh hey, they didn't have enough room, whatever. I couldn't let it go. When he said that, because your organization is pagan and because you work with Satanists, and I'm like, how can an elected official be that ignorant of constitutional law? I couldn't let this slide. I couldn't.
Honestly, I wouldn't have blamed you if you did, but also I think it's brave of you to stand up. Like we said, we don't talk politics. I talk politics. I've made that my personal goal. That is the calling of mine. I don't expect other people necessarily to follow that.
I mean, look, I got people on both sides of the spectrum, and I get that, and I just have to be like.
But that's what it is.
There's no critical thinking in this country anymore. None. They don't teach it in schools. They don't even teach constitutional law in school. Remember, one of my guys said, Mom, remember that back when we were all younger, they had the little commercial, that little cartoon to come on? This is a bill, blah, 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 how bills made. Remember
that? Yeah, I haven't seen that anymore. In years.
They don't teach anymore. They don't even teach cursive anymore. So, I mean, they don't teach clocks anymore. They teach electronic clock hand.
Right.
It's called dumbing down a nation, and I can't. And that's how we end up with problems like what happened here. Because old boy don't think he knows. He thinks he knows the law, and he don't.
All right, hold on.
Yes.
Hey. I am actually doing an interview with Donna.
You're so pretty.
All right, bye-bye.
Who was that, Gwen?
No, Shannon.
Oh.
Shannon's my buddy down here. She's my she's like my second in command. Well, yeah, she's my she's my right-hand man for Metro Valley Pagan Pride. We're trying to do something with that, try to make it work.
Well, first start doing some group. Do a winter coat drive, blanket drive. Just gather one up down there.
You know what? We may talk. I might see if we can get a group together to do that.
I got all these boxes. They look like little Santa bellies or elf bellies, right? I had put together to put all the candy in so that the guys could pass out candy on the parade. So I have this whole pile of boxes and this whole stack of candy. And so I'm putting the boxes together, and I'm going to get them out to everybody that comes by that has kids next Sunday. You better believe I don't have my elves passing them out. I'm making the girls wear their elf costume.
That's adorable.
They order their costumes and everything. It was so cute.
That's really sad too. Like that's I can see why you wouldn't let that slide, because they could have, you could have been like the application didn't get it on time, blah blah blah. But that's not what happened.
No.
If that had been what happened, it'd been a different story entirely.
Yeah, it's not, and I couldn't, and I like I said, I did not want to get myself. And first thing I did was call my daughter that day, and I said, "Your mom's about to make national news," and she said, "Oh God, what did you do?" She said, not another execution. I said, well, you know, I haven't done another execution yet. I ain't been, I said, no. I said what the mayor did. She said, oh, does he not understand what a can of worms he just opened? I'm like, no, he didn't. He didn't. I tried to tell him. You know, you just can't do that to people, man. This is wrong. And I don't care if you're a Christian, not Christian, whatever. The law is the law. The Constitution is the Constitution. You cannot do that to people.
Right. I don't think Jesus would have had a problem with us.
Look,
Like, he'd been more likely been out with you than he would be sitting with the mayor.
About my whole lecture on Jesus, because again, people do not use critical thinking. But Jesus, if anybody studies anything, was of the Essene philosophy. The Essenes, by the way, who happen to still be around, and they have their ideology is very earth-based, nature-centered, very esoteric. A very nice person who is really good friends with the APM sent me, I have a list of every single newspaper publication in West Virginia's email. I spent all night sending that press release out.
I wish they'd get that much coverage for the nice shit you do. Like,
I sent that to CBS, NBC, ABC. I even sent it to TMZ. TMZ, I did. NPR is doing an interview next week, by the way.
nice. So you ought it here first, folks.
That's right. That's right. I said I learned in a decade of working with prison administrations nationwide, I have learned the law, and I've learned how to be loud.
That's kind of what you got to do, because they'll bury you every chance they get.
I just, it's, and I'm not saying anything wrong. I will never lie or perjure or make up things. I state the facts, and I'll continue to state the facts. And it was wrong. And the fear mongering that the mayor is now trying to start is very sad to me. And
yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I don't think we've actually talked about what is going on aside from the one incident. Like, I know you've got articles.
From messages that I got, he had gone to the police department and informed them that we would be down there protesting and causing a scene. And they were basically scared we were coming down there and riot or something. And the police who went to the sanitation department and other departments and said to be wary. If we showed up, we were probably there to cause a problem and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that is just fear-mongering and BS. That's why I made my public statement tonight. That's absolutely not true. We absolutely decided not to go down there and protest for that reason exactly. It is not, we're not trying to disrupt the parade in any way, shape, or form. And that was never our intent. And it isn't even after he denied us, wasn't our intent. Our intent, I said, I'm going to fight this legally and honorably and with dignity. And I will absolutely put it out there as far and wide the media as possible. And that's not illegal and that's not unethical. That's just sharing the truth.
Right.
And I've just got a very loud voice with a lot of friends that have loud voices.
And we're going to keep being as loud as we need to be for you.
I don't condone calling and threatening the mayor or this or that. None of that. He tried to say he was being intimidated with litigation. No, you were not being intimidated. You were told that if you do not rescind this decision, I was going to file legal complaints. That wasn't threatening. I told you I was going to file a complaint with the DOJ and the ACLU and every other organization I could get my hands on. That was not a threat. That was absolute statement of fact, and I did that.
Yeah. It's not a threat if you actually do what you say you're going to do.
I said you are committing a crime. You are violating our civil rights. That is illegal. And you can't do that. And if you do, this is what I'm going to do. I'm giving you a chance to please rescind this decision. And he didn't. So, okay. That wasn't a threat. That was not intimidation. That was a statement of fact. That's exactly what I did. It wasn't 10 minutes after I got on the phone with Lori and she sent me that email. I filed the complaint with DOJ and started contacting everybody. It wasn't 10 minutes. Because I meant that. You cannot make those kind of statements and do that and think you can just
get by with it.
No. No.
Like, we live here too.
I mean, I could see if we were coming in, like I said, the guys really wanted to do Krampus. And look, would have been great, but I even said, no. This town
Yeah,
ain't
you know,
ready.
you've done Krampus or like a goat. I could understand why they.
By the way, Krampus is a Christian thing, not a pagan thing, but whatever.
Right.
People forget that. I
Punishing
lived
the
in
children.
I know better. But I'm just like, I was trying to be considerate. That's what got me. Really go with the spirit and not be flamboyantly pagan. Yeah, you know, I mean, not that it would matter if we had, but I mean, we were trying to be considerate.
Low key.
Low key. Not to be mistaken with Loki.
Apparently.
Right?
He's
So
definitely a love or hate him character.
I don't hate him at all. He definitely serves a purpose. I have mad respect for that. Just not a purpose in my circle, although apparently he thinks he wants to be around causing chaos, but he can just keep it over there. But I am so yeah, that's where we're at now. We're just waiting to see what happens. Basically, I'm just several agencies have sent in requests of information from the city.
Right.
I'm interested to see and watch the city council meeting tomorrow night. I'll watch it live on YouTube. I will share that if anybody else wants to watch it.
Are you not even going to go and just say that he probably doesn't deserve a raise?
There are people signed up to go speak tomorrow night. I don't know what they're going to say. Not sure. Not really sure. I don't know. They're not speaking for us, but they're speaking about us. I have been advised, and you saw me on the call earlier, that I'm not going to go.
Okay.
But I am going to watch it. I might even go live on Facebook and watch it that way.
Okay. I watched the town hall, a little bit of it. I couldn't sit through the whole thing. I got tired, okay? It's listen to the sound of my voice. I've got the sound of my voice says that I desperately need a cough drop. But I did hear a couple of good speeches, and I'm going to show them here. But I do want to say to the town of Parkersburg, maybe pay your mayor less and your sanitation workers more. Everybody up there is talking about how, like, the people who are working sanitation are not getting paid what they should be. And the trucks ain't working great. Pull your shit together. Just...
I'm here not because I'm happy or congratulatory. I'm here because I'm upset. I'm embarrassed. I read in the news some very embarrassing things about the city that I've come to and have decided to make my home. Our AMI score has a lot of room for work. It's embarrassing. It's a failing grade. And comparing ourselves to others, yes, we don't. But comparing ourselves to ourselves when we score so poorly on a standardization of how we treat all of our citizens is embarrassing. It's embarrassing that I read in the newspaper that we are discriminating against certain groups because of their ideologies and preventing them from being included embarrasses me. As members of this community and members of your leadership positions, you took an oath. I solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of West Virginia, and I will faithfully discharge the duties to the best of my skill and judgment that comes from the Charter. I took an oath to defend and uphold the Constitution, and I have learned over the years more of what the Constitution means, and the Constitution is more than just a piece of paper. It is a set of rules and governance that protects all of us, because we the people means all the people. 1787, 11 years after what so many people like to think is the founding of our country, we established a set of laws, and we've amended those laws. In 1867, we finally said that no state can make or enforce any laws or rules that violate the national Constitution and its protections of all of our citizens. Unfortunately, we have a chief executive who has said, on record, my position on this matter is unchanged from 2017 when the radical left descended upon the city of Parkersburg with their ultra-divisive agenda. The way that we treat people is learned and taught, not legislated and enforced. If we had not brought forth the 14th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States and enforced it, we would still have chattel slavery. Although we still have slavery in our incarceration system, the outright owning of people by private individuals has been lost and put behind us. We have also brought forth equity and inclusion of all people. We have passed civil rights legislation over the years. And West Virginia, 2 years before I was born, finally was forced to stop anti-miscegenation laws.
Sir, that's 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, as for the mayor's salary, I think we all can agree Charleston is bigger, and he only makes $65,000 a year. If that man can do it, that man can do it too. The big thing I do want to say is the parade. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Ohio News. We are hitting multiple news things. An hour before council started, the group that previously sued us in 2018 for the Lord's Prayer has taken up their case. So we are going to be paying out. I know we have insurance, but where do you think those raised premiums are going to come out of? It's going to come out of the budget. He made an executive decision. Now, I know we can't hold him accountable for that, but you, as 9 council members, can stand up and say, not okay. You can address him publicly and let the people know it wasn't okay to exclude anyone. So I call on you to do that. I know it probably won't happen, but we need to make sure that when we are speaking to the public, that we are speaking respectfully and we are listening, because clearly by this coming back on, I know it was withdrawn. We didn't listen the last time and we didn't listen at the finance meeting. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I know there's a lot of op-ed pieces going on, but I couldn't believe, honestly, the local paper did a really good write-up on it.
Yeah. And it was pretty neutral. Like, it was pretty neutral.
They did a good job. And Tom just stuck his foot right in his mouth.
Just announced to the paper. He said exactly what he said.
Yep, I know. I'm like, whoa. And I gotta say, C. Blaine, what's Blaine's? C. Blaine Myers is the city attorney. And right now, if you watch this, Mr. Myers, I really do not envy your position right now. At all. I am sure he is probably fit to be tied at this moment. Probably telling Tom to zip it. I mean, I would not want to be a city attorney at this point right now. That just is crazy.
Dang.
Especially if they just paid out $70,000 6 years ago. Like, oh, what was that? Oh, it was my charger. I thought it was a camera. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But right now, that's kind of where we're at. Everybody needs to share the word, spread the story. I would really love to see. I know it made it as far as Baltimore in the newspaper.
Nice. I know you made it to the Friendly Atheist. I saw that.
I know him. It's really good. I did correct him though. He did the article and then he did a YouTube video, which is really good. I don't know if you saw the YouTube video he did.
I saw the YouTube video. I haven't read the article.
He did. He made a few mistakes and he's going to correct them. I'm like, he said something about that we applied and then got denied for that. I'm like, no, we were already approved. That's the kicker. We were already approved. And then he denied it. That's what really got me. Because I wouldn't have gone out and spent all that money if he hadn't approved us, right?
Right.
I'm a poor old lady on disability who's a prison minister is what I am. That's what I am.
So, AKA broke.
We're looking at the Appalachian Pagan Ministry office. There's a lot of our outreach stuff over there. Okay. Books, printer, obviously, postage machine, more books and files. This is the APM office right here. You're looking at it. We are not some big corporation. We do a lot of work with a lot of people, but it's not because we have a lot of money. Our donations, since we stopped going inside and everything, donations dropped a lot. Like they seem to forget this still costs money to run. And then have a lot of health issues and stuff. I got behind on mail, behind on emails, and my folks inside have been so patient. But we go online, we do classes online with various facilities, like I said, in Ohio, Illinois, Oregon. Oregon State Penitentiary started a couple months ago. We love doing that with them. We do these online classes, and then like when Nerva does her weekend, I do the heathens, and then we still do the email correspondence with classes and material. I got stacks of mail. I guess she's bringing me more mail Saturday. She told me, it still costs money, a lot of money to run.
Right.
But the outreach is our big thing, obviously, that we do. It costs a lot of money, and a lot of us chip in as much as we can.
You do amazing work. Like, that is amazing work, and it's the work that like needs done.
Thank you. And I wish I could do more. I've learned ever since the stroke. I've learned, I got to really listen to my body and do what I can do. And that's what I don't beat myself up anymore. Well, I look better because I got rid of that toxic waste I had for 2 years of my life.
Oh yeah.
We just tell you people, Amniotic may be legal, but it's not safe. It is toxic. Just saying. But yeah, big difference in that. I am doing better. I am healing up better. My legs are giving me a lot of problems these days, and my guys are very protective. I will say it's kind of funny because the mayor made those statements right to the police department at fear mongering, and my guys were actually at the time. I get a call yesterday, Mom, we're coming over and putting a camera outside your door.
Oh. No.
Because his face like, well, I'm so glad. And I'm like, my daughter. I'm like, I know. They just want to be careful because you're by yourself and blah blah blah. And I'm like,
that's the thing. It's like you don't think about. We're talking about how it's unfortunately commonplace for a lot of the pagan community to have one or two good stories about somebody just deciding to be extra cray cray. I mean, we had our first Collins event that spawned the Metro Valley Pagan Pride event that had its own issues.
Look, I'm going to tell you. So, and this is, and if any of my guys watch this, please forgive me. But so the day of the parade, I'm sitting home, and everything's blowing up online. I'm going through my phone and I'm on those scanner pages locally, And on the scanner page, I came across it. There was a crazed man with an axe chasing cars on Murdoch Avenue. And I thought, oh, don't let it be one of mine, please. Please don't let it be one of mine. It was not. It was not.
Nope, just a regular crazy person.
My first thought, please don't let it be one of mine. And they're like, really? You thought that? Look, that was the first thought that crossed my mind. I am so sorry. Because they were talking about pillaging the village. I'm like, no, we're not. I just, and I'm really disappointed. This whole thing with him making these comments to the police department and whatnot really upset me because a lot of my folks here are on parole.
Right.
Come out or just come out of incarceration. And the last thing they need is a bunch of police running around being leery of them when they're really not doing anything wrong.
Right.
They do an immense amount of service work for the recovery programs they're in and even for us,
Right.
And they don't just work, not even just ours, they're out there with Mama Teresa's another lady who does a Christian group that goes out and passes out food and everything. And my guys are out there all the time helping her do that. Because we don't care.
You know what? It's funny. This is something I've brought up before. I think you froze up on me just a little bit. But it does seem like the most pagan of pagan groups always seems to have that one, like, Christ-like person. That one Christ follower. You know what I mean?
Well, Jesus was a pretty cool dude. He really was. I can go on. We can go on all night and interview about my feelings on Jesus and the Essenes and whatnot, but and his philosophy. I mean, back in the day, back many moons ago, when when people would ask, what do you describe as paganism, and I would say anything that is that's not monotheistic, which is not true because we have monotheistic pagan religions like Mithraism.
Right.
And I used to say, people ask me, okay. My personal belief, is that we are descended from, I believe that I am very much considered a hard polytheist. I truly believe that my deities are just as real an individual as you and I sitting here talking, okay? And that we are descended from them, not created by them. That said, because I do feel that way, how could I say someone else's deities aren't just as real as mine? I can't, right? Do I believe the God of Abraham exists? Absolutely, I believe the God of Abraham exists. I don't personally feel I'm descended from Abraham, so why would I worship or honor him?
Right.
Do I believe Jesus existed? Absolutely. Do I believe he was crucified on the cross? Absolutely. He was 100% a political activist. That's exactly what they did. The Romans did to them. Okay. Do I believe they saw him 3 days later alive? You know, I used to say no, but no. And now in my immense years of experience of walking both sides, yeah, I do believe they saw him walk right up and talk to them. The same way my best friend, who had died 6 months prior, before my heart attack, sat in my living room and held my hand while I got 911 there to save my life. The same way I talk to my son on a daily when I need to. Yeah, I think they saw him.
Right.
Absolutely.
That reminds me, I don't think we've really talked about what led you to do this.
Okay, well, that's easy. So, actually, before my son died, I started this. Okay, so back in about 2000, we started this in 2015. It's like 2013, I think it was. Back when PantheaCon was still out there in Sacramento, San Jose, whatever, in California, the big PantheaCon event. And during that time, that was when the American Council of Witches was trying to come up and rising again. And there's a big fight in what Jason Mankey likes to call greater pagandom, about Wiccan privilege and the word neo-pagan. And a lot of us, I say myself, because I am considered a Celtic recon as well, did not like that word, blah, blah, blah. There's about a lot of fighting. There was so much infighting in the pagan world and community. And I remember reading this and think, this is so friggin' stupid. No one cares. Like, really, no one cares. They don't care what we say we are. They still all think we're a bunch of baby-eating monsters out there having orgies all the time. That's what they think.
Yeah, where's my orgies at?
I don't know. So I thought to myself, this is crazy. What can I do? I mean, there's got to be something. And at the time, I was in Huntington, and I remember there's a community garden down the street from my house, and I would walk to where I worked at Bateman, the psych hospital, and I would walk back and forth to work, 2 miles each way. And there were times that I was such a bad spot. Literally, when I stopped at that community garden and harvested stuff and weeded, I would weed everything too, but I'd harvest stuff. A lot of times that was the only meal that my daughter might have had. I had that night. I would go home and make soup with. And I thought, wow, this is insane, that we're all fighting over this stupid stuff. We should be working in our communities to feed each other and stuff.
Right.
So I did. I thought, I'm going to make a pan-pagan ministry. And we're going to not care about who believes what to do good works together. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do that. So I did. And I formed it, and it was legit. And then I was out at Wisteria and at the Ancestor Mound, where I always go to meditate. And I'm like, so what do I do with this thing now? And I literally heard, go to prison. And I'm like, no, I don't get locked up again. I don't need to do that. And I got that Denozo smack in the back of my head that said, no, dumbass, go to prison. And I was like, oh, yeah, that might be a good idea. So I just decided, I had no car, lived in Huntington, and decided, okay, we're going to do this. And I sent a letter to the West Virginia Department of Corrections, and I said, hey, my name is this, this is what I want to do, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't think they'd answer me. The very next day, they answered me and said, hey, can we see you here in Charleston next week, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah. So I got dressed that day. My daughter said I looked like a little church lady, and I said, good, because I don't want to be looking all dramatic. I'm not Selena Fox. No offense.
That's what we're going for.
No offense, Selena. So I took a Greyhound bus from Huntington to Charleston, a city bus from Charleston out the edge of town, and I walked 2 miles from the last stop out to the DOC building in my little dress and briefcase and met with them. And then as I left, they like, absolutely would love to have you on board, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, all right, they're just saying that shit so I don't sue. So I got home. Very next day, I started getting emails from chaplains. They had sent our information out, and that's how it started. And I'm like, get the hell out of here. So, yeah. And at the time, my office, because I didn't have anything besides a laptop, my office was the Huntington Public Library. I'll never forget, I was going through my divorce, and the lawyer were trying to go assets, right? And they're, well, your business has an asset, has assets. Well, you might go down to the Huntington Public Library and ask for their assets, because that's the office equipment.
Right.
You're not getting that in the divorce. So, you could try. But yeah, that's how it started. And when my son died, he died in 2015 in Huntington. And when he was what was listed in the paper as the first and the deadliest week in Cabell County. I'll never forget that. That's when fentanyl hit the streets there. He was the first one.
I remember that because it was like a wave hit us.
Mm-hmm. It did. And see, at that time, with the ministry and with my son, we were very open in our recovery. We were doing recovery marches under APM as well. Very involved. I was actually part of the Mayor Steve in Huntington. I was the token pagan on his interfaith board for the opioid epidemic. Very much involved in the community. So when John died, it was a big deal. I mean, it was a huge deal. People knew him, knew me.
Right.
It was crazy, but that's why I kept going. Because every time I go in these prisons, I see these guys. That's what I see. I see my kid. Because he was facing a lot of years, and he went through a lot. A lot of them knew him, so it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy, but that was an emphasis to doing it. And so that's why and I'm in recovery. I've been in recovery since January 8th, 1989. I mean, I've drank. I'm not like NA, would not consider me sober, but I am. I have not put crystal methamphetamines in my body since January 8th, 1989. But, my son died from from a fentanyl overdose. My daughter is in recovery. She's at 5.5 years now off of meth. She worked in the recovery field as well. And, we know this pretty well inside and out. I know it on the working end of it. I know it as an addict myself. I know it as a parent of one who died and one in recovery. I mean, we kind of got it all covered. And it's been a big part of our lives for many, many, many years. And that's why I really was moved when the Hellweger got brought to my attention years ago as a recovery program. And I really believe in it. It's a really good one. For those who are of heathen, Norse pagan or heathen, I think it's a great recovery program. There's other ones out there, but there's all sorts of. I am a stepper. I'm a step. I did the step program. I did the steps, but I believe there are various step programs for various paths. I wrote the 8 steps for the Celtic pagans. That
Right.
was the book that I co-authored. Yeah. So, I believe that it's all a matter of finding what works for you. If you're not in the step programs, that's fine. I don't care. I don't care how you recover, how you do your recovery. I don't. I used to be very anti-medical assisted treatment. I was a hardliner back then. Like, that's just substitute one drug for another. Right now, I don't care. If it's keeping you alive and functioning actively in your life, I don't care. Can't get better, can't get help if you're dead.
That's true. That's very true. That's the cold hard truth right there.
I mean, seriously. And I mean, people always ask me, if I regretted my stances, would my son still be alive? He was going to do the Vivitrol shot. I was against that because, and I'll tell you why, because he was a multi-substance user. The Vivitrol shot might have kept him from using opiates, but we're going to stop him from doing meth, So, but do I think he'd have been alive now? No, I think that it was definitely his time to go. I do believe. But I don't take that away from anybody. I don't care if you're Cali sober, they want to call whatever. I don't care. I drink. I don't drink a lot, rarely, but I drank. They could tell I'm sober. Dude, I can drink. My son used to find this. I can drink, and I'm not getting this gigantic urge to go snort a line of meth. Sorry. He would go
Right.
drink. Next thing you know, he's got a needle in his arm. Big difference. Everybody is different. Everybody knows themselves better than anybody else. And if you can go smoke weed and not go out and shoot dope, I'm good with that.
Right.
Not
Right.
to take no. You know,
It's kind of about taking that next step to fixing or putting your life together.
if someone, I don't care what they're doing, if they're doing Suboxone, if they're doing Cali sober, if they're whatever, but as long as they're actively working to deal with that inner trauma, then I consider them actively working recovery, period. When you stop dealing with your issues and you're just using these other things to cope with them, then you got another problem, you know. That's
Right.
my opinion. But
I
so
see
that's,
you doing it.
but people, you know, today can go do a coat drive, man. It's cold out there. People need blankets and coats and gloves, and go get those Mylar blankets from the first aid blankets. If you can't go get a bunch of real blankets, get those and pass them out to these people. Put them in bags. You'd be amazed how warm those blankets could keep somebody in the middle of the night, you know. And
Right.
and start fighting in your cities to stop this stupid ticketing or camping bans, which I think is ridiculous too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just people with enough money to just want the issue to disappear.
I'm so mad about it. I'm so mad about it. There's just so much to attack. But just do what you can in your own community. Do what you can. I don't care if it means find one homeless person you see walking the streets every day. If you see them every day, make them a goodie bag and go give it to them right now. If that's all you do, then you've done something. Because the more people in the community see that we are just like them and we are just trying to help each other, period, the less scared they are of us.
Right.
There's a lot of outside propaganda, obviously, you know. Not all pagans are Satanists, and not all Satanists aren't even bad. I really hate that God. But I'd rather work with a bunch
You
of
know, most atheists, like, it's funny because at least the non-theistic Satanists, the atheistic Satanists they're just like, they're edgy atheists.
They're atheist humanists. They're very humanistic. And here's the thing. People don't get, I'll say this now on camera too, because people don't understand this. If you were incarcerated, the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan, neither one of them will accept you as a member if you're incarcerated. And then after you're out of incarceration, depending on your crime, they will vet you. Many crimes, they will not allow you to be a member. Yeah, remember, it's the Satanic Temple that's marching these abused kids into court, protecting them from their abusers. You don't see a bunch of Wiccans up there doing it, no offense, or even heathens. I mean, let's be honest, you know, they're definitely well organized as a machine. We all fight too much and can't get along long enough to do anything. That's half our problem.
Right.
That's why the things you did, like the middle half, the MLB Pagan Pride, that's so huge, huge.
I was scared shitless the whole time. It was like 3 weeks before when they tried to put in a drag ban in that town. Some guy was up there in the I wish I had recorded. I had my now ex-girlfriend with me, and I think that I wish I would record. This guy got up there and quoted Leviticus for 3 solid minutes.
That's the problem. That's what my friend said. These Christians, they're not Christians, they're Leviticans. They just won't admit it.
I'm like, if you want to go, like, just we're not gonna go bestiality over here. Like, none of us are looking at the dog and thinking that. Like, none of us. It's not the queer community that's giving the dog the come hither look. I'm just saying.
No, it's not. I just. But that's what I said. Doing community service. If you can go volunteer your time at your local shelter, go work at your local soup kitchen, get out and do certain things in the community. The more we do this community, and I don't mean, like what you're doing is great too, yes, but the more we can get involved in our actively in our local communities doing service work, the more they see that we're not the monster. And that's why I think this whole thing is going to be, I'm getting far more support from people around the community here. I'm watching stuff online that are not, that are Christians. They're like, hey, you don't understand the work that they're doing over there. I'm so happy to see that.
That
That's
is
what I tell
amazing.
them, get out there and do this and do this work and do what we're supposed to do and show them what honor is and what dignity is and show them how we live our life.
Right.
Because like I said, when I started this ministry, we could scream all day about what we believe and don't believe, and no one's going to care. It's when they see what we do that makes a difference.
Right.
And that's why I said, getting out there protesting this parade would not have been a good look. That's what they want. That's what they want. Is take a point and say, see, now we weren't trying to, we were just trying to be peacefully part of this community because we are part of this community. We're an active part of this community.
Right.
And we're going to continue to be an active part of this community. And I don't care if they want to run me off every corner passing out. I mean, the last time we were down trying to get stuff into the camps, they would have runners come up and get stuff from us. And as soon as we pulled off, the police arrested them. Like, all right, now we got to change tactics. Now I don't announce it when we're going to do it. I don't announce when we're going down there. We just go in there and give it.
No, wait a minute. You said that the police
Arrested
arrested.
yeah. So there's a marble factory, an old marble factory in Parkersburg, and down behind the marble factory, all along the river back there, where the homeless camps are. Police won't go down in there; they're scared to death. Whatever, and they've moved back further and further back. But so we pulled up there. Only had a couple of us there because it was hot, real hot. It was the summer, and I did not want people walking across town to get stuff from us. I know it's crazy. Let's take it to them, but they don't have to walk out in this heat. We had a bunch of water. We had sandwiches and, Narcan, hygiene, all kinds of stuff. And then a few of us walked down in the camps and got a hold of some people and said, hey, go back in there and tell people what we got up here to come up and get food and stuff. And so several of them would come up. They're like runners that would come up on their bikes and get stuff and take back down there, right?
Right.
And when we were done, I saw the police cross street. Well, I saw them. And as soon as we left and pulled off, they went in and swooped in and arrested the runners that were trying to carry the rest of the stuff. We left them down at the camps. So fucking mad.
That is so gross.
I remember when they decided to start ticketing people. They were unhoused, ticketing them. And I was in a council meeting, and a bunch of people from the local stuff were on there. And I remembered I said, so I guess we're going to ticket these people for being homeless, but they obviously are homeless and don't have jobs and can't pay for that. So what are we going to do when they don't pay? Are we going to arrest them? Well, no, we can't do that because it's prison. At the time, jails are too full. Well, then why are we getting them tickets? What a waste of resources. How about we stop doing that and start finding other avenues to help? But I don't know.
The social outreach is too hard.
It's hard. It's hard as can be.
I mean, it is hard, but also because it requires you to look at these other people as in some way equal. I think part of the reason that I work so well, because I actually worked with a company here in Charleston for a very brief period of time, I think it's 2 years, where we worked with the unhoused and people at risk of being unhoused.
Right.
And people who were exiting mental health facilities.
Right.
And I think the only reason, and I could tell the difference between the people who were working there who were had some level of disdain for the people they were working for, and the people who understood we're all about one head injury away from being in the same damn boat.
Less than that. What are you talking about? Less than that? Shit. Seriously. I have been blessed in my life. I know how blessed I am. I know I'm blessed.
Right.
But yeah. Oh, no. I was a young mother of a very young baby boy who lived in her car with him. We actually would. I had a whole bed in the back, playpen thing made up for John. And he would go to his daycare all day long. I would go to work. And then we would come back and we slept. I parked outside of the truck stop outside of town. And they knew I was parking there. We'd go in. We would eat supper in the truck stop. We would go take a shower. I'd bathe them in the shower. And then we would go out there and we would sleep in my car at night. They knew I was there, and then get up in the morning and do it again. I did that for 6 months with the baby. I was 17 years old.
Dang.
So you do what you got to do. And I know that. And I get really frustrated. You know, we're all one step away, all one step
Yeah.
from
There's a
everything.
one bad day.
Don't even know, man. Don't even know. And so, yeah, I just, and people, you know, not all people who are unhoused and on the streets are drug addicts. Yeah, a lot may be. Not all are. They're not all criminals. They're not all coming to steal from you. I mean, I'm not going to say there aren't some, and there
Right.
isn't a risk. Like, I'm not going to lie. I don't have a firearm, but I do carry when I go in there or
Right.
when I'm on the streets alone. I don't carry a gun. I have other options, but I'm not without a weapon.
Yeah, there's, you know, there's difference between, like, yeah, you can see somebody as an equal person, but not want to put yourself at a disadvantage.
I'm not stupid, but
Right.
but I'm also, you know, I don't know. I'm so frustrated by the fact that we are going to penalize these people for coming onto hard times, and then think that's going to make it all better. It's not. It just makes it worse and worse. And then penalize those trying to help them. Like, I'm not encouraging anybody to go use, but I want them to be safe because they're going to use. I know they're going to use.
Right.
So if you know they're actively using, please test your dope. Please be safe. Please stop spreading bloodborne diseases. Wrap up a condom with a condom because you know you got diseases. It's just called harm reduction and
Right.
lessening the risk.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it's easier to pull people out if there's less stigma around it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And when you got, you know, folks like ours, all the ones out there doing it who have come from those streets, they've come from that. They know what it's like. That's why they're so good at doing it and working with them because they
Right.
understand it. You know, the best peer support, in my opinion, is the best thing for recovery ever. Because who else is going to know what you're going through than somebody's already done it? I get it, but you also got to stop penalizing us out there trying to help. So, but anyways, so that's where we're at. And yeah, the parade already happened, and no, I don't have any plans to sign up for another one right now. Well, like,
Well,
we're gonna get through this year.
Donna, tell us once again, how can people help the Metro?
You can, if you want to donate directly, you can go to paypal.me/send us to prison, or you can cash app us to $ big A, big P, big M, small t, small o, big P, RISON, APM to prison. Or you can go on our website, AppalachianPaganMinistry.com, and look under how to help. There's many ways. You don't have to just donate. You can buy off our wish list. You can, if you want to teach a course, say it to me. I'll talk to you about it. And basically just share the news about what happened here, because I need this to go extremely nationally viral so everybody has eyes on Parkersburg and they can't continue to do this to more people.
Fair enough.
And work in your community.
Work in your community outreach, building that community, because that's the biggest thing. I think that I think is part of what you have inspired me to do. There's been a few people that have helped inspire.
Well, I'm telling you, because they're not going to change their perceptions of what a pagan is if they don't see us out in the community actually being part of it. Everybody's like, why you just do your own parade? Why? Why would we have our own parade? This is a community parade. We are part of the community. And that was my whole, you know, yeah, that'd be great. And having these days for, and I get it, are great too. But the biggest way we're gonna actually spread awareness about who and what we are is by what we do in our community, not having our own private events and our own private things away from people. So we don't, no, being in the community, serving our community, because we live there. So,
Right.
you know, and that's always been my belief.
All right. That's I think that's a pretty good place to end this on. Do you have any last words, any things you'd like to leave off?
No. Go buy off our wish list. Buy our supplies.
Fair enough.
Go
All
get
right.
us some outreach supplies. That'll work. I love
right.
you all.
Yeah, it's been really nice. Everybody at home, remember that I'm gonna try and get all the links because you can't spell stuff out loud to me. I will never pick it up. So Donna, later on, send me those links and I'll put them in the description. Make sure you're checking out that description. We're gonna try and put all those articles and things. We come with the receipts in this community.
That's right. Great.
All right. Thank you, Donna.
Send me an email and I will email it back to you. So I have your email and I'll email them all back to you.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you my email. That's no big deal. For everybody else, safe travel and much profit to you.
Thank you for joining me at Madame Tortuga's Lounge. In case you didn't know, I am actually a full-time professional psychic with another YouTube channel. I'm also part of Metro Valley Pagan Pride, and if you'd like to learn about all of those things, you can find out more at dottieThepsychic.com. That's dottieThepsychic.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.